Hello guys, how's it going? It's Nathan here, and today we'll be looking at the Roborock S7 MaxV Ultra. Been using this little guy for about a month now, and I just received a new update to improve the reactive AI 2.0 technology. Now we can avoid poo of different shapes and sizes. Of course, I got my favorite oatmeal, apple oats, and we'll see if we can avoid that as well. So let's go and just get started and see what the Roborock S7 MaxV is all about. Alright, let's just get going. Okay, let's go and jump into the settings, and you can see everything's enabled. Now we enabled the flashlight, we have pet details on, so it's the most sensitive to objects, and let's see how well this works. Alright, so I magically placed some poo down. As you can see, as it's going to a target point, it can actually avoid poo, which is pretty cool. The first challenge I did was place the yummy apple oatmeal in the center there, and I put some almonds around it. What a great combination. Okay, you can see the vacuum was actually able to avoid the oatmeal, but pick up the almonds.
Finished cleaning. Returning to dump.
Well, this is no vacuum ninja. It's not quiet, but you know what? I guess a vacuum cleaner shouldn't be quiet. Okay, so the next challenge is we're going to have two different objects now. We're going to have a kind of a smaller flat object, and we're going to have more that looks like a traditional poo. Maybe a dog, maybe a giant bunny, who knows. Okay, so you can see the little vacuum scanned the room, and then it's going to start with the perimeter, then filling that perimeter with the back and forth clean pattern. Having a bunch of robots running around the household is nice, but sometimes they argue with each other. Well, let's let those two robots argue out, maybe they can find a solution. Alright, so on the map you can see these little icons. One looks like a little poo icon. As you can see, it's pretty spot on. There's a percentage letting you know how accurate you think it was. Okay, so make sure you enable this feature if you want it. I think it's disabled by default, but it's pretty handy if you want to see exactly where the object was. So in this challenge, the room is pretty well lit, and I have dark hardwood floors with the contrast of the brown poo. So it's kind of impressive that the roll vacuum was able to distinguish between the two, and you can see it did 2 out of 3, kind of hit the one in the middle there. Well, I guess we can't have a proper poo challenge without bringing over the stinky competition. Get it? Stinky poo? Yeah, okay, no one was laughing. Alright, so iRobot Roomba J7 Plus, in my personal opinion, is the best poo avoiding robot I currently tested, but you can see the difference in the application. The map is a lot simpler, doesn't have all the fancy little icons that pop up, and you can't actively see what the camera sees that the Roborock S7 MaxV can do. Alright, if we go into the settings, you do have the option to turn off the reactive AI or turn it on. If you want more of a detailed clean, I definitely recommend turning it off so the rough vacuum can get closer to an object. Alright, let's go and start this bad boy up and see how well the Roomba J7 Plus does. Well, unlike the Roborock, the J7 likes to just go straight in and start with the back and forth clean pattern. Well, what do you guys think? Do you like the more conservative approach where it leaves significant space, or do you like the more aggressive approach on the Roborock where it tries to get as close to the object as possible? Well, are you liking this video so far? Is this helpful? If you have any questions, feel free to shoot a comment down below. Make sure you smash the like button. It's that little thumbs up button. Yeah, sadly, there's no thumbs down anymore. But let's keep going and see how well it does in a dark room. Both robots can actually avoid poo while going to a room to clean. And let's go and just turn on the lights here so I can show you the test. So I have some dark carpeting with some brown poo of different shapes. So this is probably the most challenging just because cameras definitely struggle with low light conditions. But both robots do have an onboard flashlight. The J7's flashlight stays on all the time, whereas on the Roborocks it turns on when needed to be. Alright, let's go and do a side-by-side comparison. We got the J7 on the left, we got the S7 on the right. As you can see, they're both very different, and I could say they have different personalities. The S7, the Roborock version, is more aggressive, so will get closer to the POO, whereas the J7 is more conservative, kind of laid back little guy. He really doesn't want to get into any trouble. Alright, so let me know who are you rooting for. Are you rooting for the J7 or are you rooting for the S7? Okay, so both robots are doing a good job. They're both at 100%, haven't touched the POO yet. So let's move on to the second one. This is more of a lighter color, so I suspect it should be able to do alright. But keep in mind, now it has to avoid both objects to get to this corner area. And there's not much room on the left there where the wall is. So the robot vacuum kind of has to go around the POO without avoiding the other POO. While both these robot vacuums aren't 100% foolproof, I think for what they are, they can actively avoid the POO without much issues. So, if your pet happens to leave a nice little surprise, I think you could come home without having the POO spread throughout your entire floor plan. Now, I can't possibly test every situation, so your situation may vary, so just be mindful of that. The best possible way to avoid this is, of course, keep the POO off the ground, or just try to make sure there's not any obstacles where these vacuums can get hung up. Okay, so it looks like both are doing a pretty good job. They're almost done with the test, so let's see how well they go back to their areas to go back and recharge. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up this video. I kind of give you my final thoughts and kind of talk about the navigation, the optical avoidance on these two models. Now, both are pretty good, but if I had to choose, I think the Roborock S7 MaxV is slightly better just because it's a little bit more aggressive, and even though it wasn't perfect, it was able to clean a little bit better around the objects, whereas the J7 takes more of a conservative approach. Now, keep in mind, the S7 is more expensive depending on what model you get. If you just get the S7 MaxV, which will be available shortly, it will be more expensive than the J7 that has the self-emptying bin. But you do get a lot more features with the S7. For example, it has that front-facing camera, so it acts like a security system. And like I showed in the app, you can see exactly where the robot cleaned and any objects it avoided. So if you like those fancy app features, well, the S7 might be for you. Well, I'll be honest with you, the Roomba J7 is one of my favorite robot vacuums. I personally use it every day. I don't know, it's just the way it has a personality, kind of beeps at you, and it's not the most effective or the best navigator, but just from the design and the clean look, I really do like the J7. Now, you could compare this to the S7, where it was more effective at navigating these shoes. It was able to go over to the target area quicker. But if you just only run robot, you're not going to really notice the difference between how quickly a robot gets to an area. But again, if you want all the fancy features, the Roborock has you covered. But if you want an easy to use interface, you just like the cute personality, the little beeping noises, the J7 will have you covered. Both manufacturers do offer different models. These are the more premium models I tested, but you can get cheaper models. For example, the i3, which been out for a while from iRobot, has the new smart mapping feature, and you can get a self-emptying robot from iRobot for about, I believe, $500. Now, if you go with Roborock's model, like the S7, the original version, I believe that's like $750, so it's a little bit more expensive. So, I hope you liked this video and you found this helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to put a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And you guys have a great rest of your day. And if you have any other videos you'd like to see with the S7 MaxV Ultra, I will do a cable challenge shortly, maybe in a week or so. And I'll let you know when the Roborock will be released. Alright, so thanks again. Have a great rest of the day. See you later. Adios.